Hi, and welcome to Across the Deck. This week, we're going to go over the second part of the Oklahoma Republican Party platform in our Part 1 family, Part 2 series, Point 2 of family, where we discuss the second half of Part 1 of family in the Oklahoma Republican Party platform. And I was telling you, hey, this is going to be a series of shows. This is the third in the series. And I was thinking, I could just skip over stuff in this platform, but there's a lot of juicy stuff in here and a lot of good material that I'd really like to get out to you people. And this is how I want to do it. And we'll just cut it up into as many shows as we need to make sure that you get the information out there. The next item on this list is Section C, and they talk about health care and what they think about this in their Oklahoma Republican Party platform, and I'm going to show you here a screen, and what they believe when it comes to health care. We believe that no person shall have nourishment and or water withheld unless that individual has signed a written legal directive. Hospitals and healthcare professionals should not be required to violate their conscience by participating in end-of-life procedures. Well, okay. So they want to get it through that they're against this. We're against end-of-life procedures, of course, if it's we want to end your life because we disagree with you. But here we go, end-of-life procedures. Do not resuscitate orders. I guess they believe in that and everything else. But when it comes to being in a vegetative state or anything else, well, they think they should just keep you alive. This is a big denial of science, and you got these guys, Republicans and conservatives, who most of them aren't licensed doctors or practitioners, wanting to dictate medical care. And this is more the Republican big government in process. Let's continue on. What they support in these things: we support the patient-family doctor relationship and oppose national medicine. Nationalized medicine. They're talking about Medicare for all and stuff like that. So, they support full consumer access to safe foods, medication, and alternative treatments, including access to any and all information regarding such substances. We support privatization of Social Security, disability, Medicare, and Medicaid programs, allowing individuals, private groups, and small businesses the freedom to form collective purchasing groups for the purpose of acquiring health care of their choice. Now, this goes along with their, fear of socialism, but is it really? I mean, here we are. It's an insurance program, and that's what they do. When you get a pool of people together, this is how insurance works. The big commie socialist insurance people. This is how it works, people. You get a group of people together. They all pay in it as a group, and they spread the cost out among each other. That way, some people will use it, some people won't, but everybody gets covered. You see what I'm saying? A nice big commie socialist pot, and there you go. That's how insurance actually works. It's how private insurance actually works. It doesn't matter if it's private, public, whatever. It works that way. And here's more of that Republican cognitive dissonance. Living out in a fantasy land somewhere, and they just don't get it. So let's go on to number 5. We support individuals' right to elect not to have health insurance. Okay, well, if somebody doesn't want to have health insurance, they can elect to have that. But here we go again. When that person doesn't have health insurance and they actually need some medical care, well, there's that Hippocratic oath, and they have to do it, and then they'll charge them, and then they won't pay for it, and then that comes down to us, and that's why our health care costs are so high, because these people aren't insured, and they don't pay their bill, so the hospital and the doctors don't go broke, because it's, private held stuff, and for profit, then they have to raise their rates so they can stay in business, because these other people aren't paying, because they're not insured, and that's what insurance does. It helps alleviate that cost so that at least a portion is being paid, and we can keep all our costs down that way. This is more out there fantasy land stuff from the people on the right. Let's go on. Number 6. We support medical savings accounts and health savings accounts that also allow the individual freedom of choice in services, both traditional and alternative. These accounts should be made available to Medicare participants. Well, here we go again, not understanding how this really works. Because, um, that's great. If you have money, you'll be able to do that. But, what if you're a minimum wage worker? Or what if you make under 15 an hour? Even that, I mean, come on, man. Under 15 an hour people are not going to be able to afford to do that. They're living paycheck to paycheck already. They're not going to be able to afford to have that. But here we go, that Republican mantra again, and I repeat back to my favorite guy, our former governor, Mr. Keating, who said, if you can't afford it, then you really don't need it anyway. Now, number 7 here, man, I don't really understand this, how it would be in with medicine at all or medical ethics, but here we go. We support and encourage rigorous enforcement of all anti pornography, obscenity, and human trafficking laws. Now, okay, I get the human trafficking stuff. Sure, who's not against that? We don't want that stuff. But really, the pornography and everything, and that's a medical issue. This is more Republican big government coming in to tell you how you're going to behave. And that's all this is. That's what this is a big wish list of how we're going to take big government and impose that upon your social life to change your behavior to the way we want you to be. And that's what that all is. So that's what they're for, I guess. And so then we're going to go on to what do they oppose? Now, when it comes to what they oppose, here we go. Only one item. Here it is. And some of this I really don't get. We oppose any legislation, including international treaties, restricting the manufacture, distribution, sale, or possession of natural substances other than those necessary for manufacturing, sanitation, and full and accurate listing of all ingredients and tamper-proofing. So, what are they opposing here? I'm not really sure I understand this sentence. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Are they really opposing not having the FDA look at some of these natural remedies and stuff? Like, I mean, it kind of makes me think, wow, man, these guys really like Jim Baker a lot and this snake oil stuff that he's trying to sell. Because this sounds like, I mean, we oppose the FDA or anybody else coming in and saying, restricting the use of natural substances and natural supplements. I think this might go in a little bit too with these anti-vaxxer crowds and these anti-science people who, we can't trust those doctors. And it goes into a long line of these people's thinking, when it comes to, you see them, hey, I'm not a politician, vote for me, which is kind of strange because maybe it's not that strange. Because here we go. This is exactly their thinking, Man, you can't use that licensed plumber. You can't trust that guy. He knows way too much. He's going to game you. He's going to charge you too much money. You don't want to use that guy. You want to use Joe the lawn guy down the street. Now, he may not know plumbing as well as this other guy, but he's going to charge you a lot less, and he's going to be honest with you about it. So we need to use that guy, not the licensed guy who's learned and has been tested and has met the qualifications to be a licensed plumber that knows what he's doing when it comes to, flow of water or size of pipe you need for different types of flow. Now, we want to use this other guy who doesn't know anything. And I just really don't understand that line of thinking. Now, their section D is about the elderly and everything else, and I'm really not going to go into it because really a lot of it, they go back to abortion again. Hey, we believe in, dignity of life, including that of the unborn. And we believe that, people that take advantage of the elderly should be prosecuted. Of course, I think that should probably go across the lines. And then again, they only have a few points, nothing they oppose in that, so I'm really not going to cover it. And then in the respects for brevity, we're going to go on to section E, which is all about, hey, religious freedom. What do they believe when it comes to religious freedom? No, folks, I'm going to come back here. This is important to understand this. Really study this because we can really learn a lot about these guys by understanding their platform. And here we go, right here, section E, religious freedom. What do they believe? We believe that the Founding Fathers based our Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and laws on the Bible and on traditional Judeo-Christian ethics and values. Now, they really want to use this narrative here really badly because I can tell you right now, off the top of my head, I can think of 3 founders that signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and they weren't all that Christian-y. And we're going to talk about Benjamin Franklin, for one. Like I said, hey, please, Read his autobiography. It's all in there about how he really wasn't a Christian. He was a deist. He claimed to be a deist. And even in his book, he claims, hey, you know what? I came out as agnostic, as a deist, because, even back then, even though it was enlightening and everything else, and a lot of people were deists trying different stuff out, it was really political suicide to come out and say you were an atheist. So he did not do that. But he really didn't believe in all that stuff. And when you look at Thomas Jefferson, here we go, became president, and those Christians couldn't bury their Bibles fast enough because they really thought he was coming to burn them all. That is no lie right there. You can look it up. And then again, for number 3, Madison was president. He was sworn in on a law book, not a Bible, and he was very adamant about, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? I'm not a Christian. It would be meaningless to me. I'm doing it on a law book because I believe in the law, the Constitution, and what America stands for, and that's what he did. So when they come out and say, we believe our founders based it on the Constitution and Declaration of Independence on the Bible, well, they're full of crap. They're trying to push a narrative that isn't true, and this is all goes in, this is that cognitive dissonance, religious freedom. Well, you have all the freedom of a religion you have as long as it's Christian. And it says it right here, black and white. We're a Christian nation. Our laws are based on the Bible and Christianity. And, you're just going to have to live with that. So, let's go on here. Number 2. We believe the religious clause of the First Amendment was meant to protect an individual's freedom of religion, not remove religion from public life. And number 3, we believe church leaders have the same freedom of speech rights as leaders of other organizations without the threat of penalties, including loss of tax-exempt status. Now this goes into a lot of things. This is the Republicans, again, not being able to take what they like to dish. So when it comes to religious freedom, and I'm going to use that word really loosely here, this is kind of what they think and what they support. And I want to show you here. 1, what they support is retaining the religious significance of national holidays and the display of religious symbols in public places, and oppose the removal of such. Now, let's be honest here. They're talking about Christian religious symbols. They're not talking about Muslim. They're not talking about Hindu or Buddhist or anything else. Maybe some Jewish stuff, but mostly we're talking about crosses and angels and stuff that happens to do with Christianity, because this is all about evangelizing people. This is all about bringing those that don't believe into their fold so they can believe like they do, and we can be a nice cookie cutter Christian nation that they want. And that's what this is all about. It's about forcing their beliefs on others. It's not about religious freedom. It's about them having the freedom to tell you what you're going to do, and we're going to do that through policy and big government to make you do it. We're going to go on with number 2. So they also strongly support federal and state legislation to encourage and preserve inscriptions in our public buildings. Yeah, like In God We Trust. Like the episode I did a little while back on the God We Trust law. They love stuff like this, and we're just going to keep going because I've already covered it. They support programs including faith-based organizations that promote traditional marriage, marriage enrichment, abstinence education, and encourage responsible parenting. Now, what they're talking about here is responsible parenting would be marrying off your pregnant 16-year-old daughter against her will. That would be responsible parenting, because that might have, alleviated an abortion. And this is really what those guys think. They think this is a good idea. We think that we should have only traditional marriages in our religious freedom. We should be religiously free to keep you from getting married. Now, doesn't that sound really like a cognitive dissonance? That sounds like a total con job. That's my religious freedom to keep you from marrying. Even though I don't know you, you're a consenting taxpayer adult. I don't know you or your partner. But you know what? I think it should be my religious freedom's right to keep you from doing that. And you know what? I'm going to use the power of big government to make sure that happens. Let's keep on going. We oppose the granting of minority protection or special status to any person based upon sexual preference or lifestyle. Now, here we go. How does this go in with religious freedom? Like I was saying, they want the religious freedom to go in and make policy to deny people rights and freedoms if they don't believe the way they do. This is denying others their First Amendment right because they think that they have their First Amendment right to deny others of theirs. And this is that strange, twisted pretzel logic that conservatives come up with to justify themselves. I mean, because obviously you look at this and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. It's like a crooked picture. But here you go. Oh no, it's my religious freedom to be mean to you. I should be able to do that. These people don't even know these other people, and here they are trying to pass policy that's harming other people. It's what Republicans do. You know it. They love the country so much and the flag, but they just about hate everybody in it. Again, and they've talked about this again and again and again. Here we go. I'll put this back up. Number 2, they oppose all efforts that violate religious liberty and freedom of conscience by mandating that employers and individuals buy coverage for sterilization and contraceptives, including drugs that induce abortion. Again, here we are, trying to force people to a certain behavior through policy, and we're going to do it by, hey, playing on people's religious convictions. And then the last one there, they oppose granting legalization of equal status for other people. And here you go. This goes in. I was talking a while back about a guy that came out and said, you know what, they need to give these, it was Black History Month, and that wacko evangelist came out and said, you know what, it's these white people that let them free, it's these white people that emancipated them, so they're really the true heroes for Black History Month. And then the guy came out, one of his brother or cousin said, oh, actually they were just fighting to get the same rights, not that they wanted to get extra special rights. Yeah, so he had to stop him on that, but that goes in with the same line that we're talking here. They think that these are special rights, and that's how they want to view it. But it's not, it's actually giving them equal rights to everybody else. And this is where we go in with what they've been talking about. They actually want to put in policy that governs what consenting adults do. They want big government policy to come in and tell people how they're going to live their lives. It's exactly what this is. It's exactly what it's for, and you can read it right there in black and white. Well, so that's our show here on Section 1 of the Oklahoma Republican Party platform on family and what they believe. And it's a big wish list of big government policy decisions that they want to make to dictate your social life and how you're going to live it, who you're going to worship, and how you're going to see it. That's what this is all about, and that's what all Section 1 is about. Republican big government in control telling you what you're going to do. Please join us next week again on Across the Desk. We'll have another interesting topic coming up, and I'm not sure, it'll probably be a couple episodes before I do another one on this. So we'll get to Section 2 later of this, and like I said, there's 6 sections of this, so expect 7 to 8 episodes coming up of this, which will obviously go into next season. But here we are, Oklahoma Republican Party platform, Section 1, and the kookiness, the clowniness, and the cognitive dissonance of unreality out in fantasy land with the elves and the unicorns thinking that is the Oklahoma Republican Party. Till next week, it's Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild.